the adversaries are innovating themselves. And so we need to kind of get back to the basics of what is really the DNA of the United States Air Force, which is to rapidly innovate and get new capabilities to the warfight so that we can maintain superiority in air and space. If adversaries are innovating, we constantly have to be thinking about how do we maintain air superiority? How do we make sure we can continue to communicate, command and control all of our systems? How do we make sure that whenever a Marine or a soldier on the ground hears an aircraft, they don't even bother to look up because they know it's us. That if any country tries to threaten the vital national interests of the United States or our allies, that we are able to prevail. And maybe they wonder a little bit just exactly what we're doing next. This is an experiment, yeah. And we reached out to industry and we said, look, we're looking at different ways to solve the light attack problem. We think there's a strategic problem here, and we want to do this differently. So we're not going to do 10-year requirements and analysis of alternatives, procurement, and blah, blah, blah. We just want to do an experiment. And they were willing to, we reached out and they reached back. For example, if you are trying to defend against a violent extremist organization and you need to be able to support people on the ground. And these aircraft they not only have, a lot of them have slewing balls on them to be able to see, and then they can put a precision weapon on the target from the air, but to do it at a low cost.
So these airplanes, because they have a turboprop engine, they operate much more efficiently, and so they don't burn as much fuel. Because they're simpler airframes, kind of based on a commercial airframe, they don't take as much maintenance. They're not low observable or stealthy, so you don't have to put a lot of time into maintaining that. So the cost per flying hour goes down quite a bit. There should be about a quarter of even our cheapest airplane to operate, which is the A-10. So if I can do that, then I can save that money for the taxpayer, and I can use it more effectively to get ready for all the things I'm asked to.
So if you're flying on an F-16 or an F-35, those are very expensive. They're very hard to maintain, very hard to. So a lot of our allies and partners are interested in this because the air tractor, that's a crop duster. It's less difficult to maintain. Very robust for undeveloped airfields, and kind of a plug and play with a lot of the equipment on it. So we think it'll be useful in that what we call light attack, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, and light attack.
What we're doing is we're continuing to experiment. This is another way we're going after off-the-shelf technology that could instantly be put to use at part of the spectrum of war that we're involved in right now. So think Afghanistan, Syria, and those areas. Not a lot of ground threats, but we need to protect the forces on the ground. As we become ready, we also can modernize.
Our big readiness problem is we're using very high-end capabilities overseas for a permissive environment. Well, what would happen if we had light attack aircraft in that permissive environment? In other words, it's not a lot of integrated air defense. We're not having to penetrate really difficult air defense. So it'd be fairly safe to use these kind of aircraft. And then for our high-end aircraft, they're able to train for a high-end fight. It's more cost-effective, and it's probably would help our readiness.